They laughed the moment she walked in. A tattoo on her wrist, that was all it took for the panel to dismiss her, whispering that she wasn't professional enough, disciplined enough, or company material. They didn't even let her sit before rejecting her. What they didn't know was that the woman they casually humiliated was the newly appointed CEO, the one who would decide every one of their futures. Before we dive into this unbelievable twist of fate, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to Tales and Turns, where stories flip, twist, and surprise you at every moment. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? We love seeing our community from all around the world. She stood outside the glass doors of the company she once admired, taking a steady breath before stepping in. Her name was Mira, and after years of building herself from nothing, working late nights, studying harder than anyone else, and carrying the weight of every failure with quiet dignity, she was finally ready to start fresh. She had applied for a mid-level managerial position, hoping to return to corporate life after running her own small business. The tattoo on her wrist, a small symbol of her late mother, was her only visible mark of rebellion. And yet, it was the first thing the receptionist's eyes fell on. The waiting room felt colder than she expected. I scanned her up and down, not with curiosity, but with silent judgment. A man in a suit leaned toward another and muttered something under his breath, prompting a quiet snicker. Mira pretended not to notice. She had dealt with far worse in life. What was one judgmental room? But it stung more than she liked to admit, especially here, in a place she once dreamed of working. When her name was finally called, she pushed open the interview door with a hopeful smile. The panel, 3 interviewers seated stiffly behind a glossy table, did not smile back. Their eyes dropped to her tattoo immediately. "I'm sorry," the woman in the middle said, not genuinely apologetic at all. "We maintain a certain image. Visible tattoos are not acceptable here. It's unprofessional." Mira blinked, confused. "But she never finished the sentence. The men to the right waved dismissively, already reaching for the next file. "We won't be moving forward. Thank you." And just like that, she was dismissed, not for lack of skill, not for lack of education, but for something as meaningless and personal as a symbol on her skin. She walked out with a numbness she couldn't shake. For a moment, all the strength she had built over the years cracked. She had lost her mother, lost her company during a recession, and now, it seemed, lost even the chance to rebuild. But life, as it often does, was preparing a twist she didn't see coming, a twist that had been quietly working behind the scenes for months. Because little did she know, the board of directors of this very company had selected her as their new CEO, impressed by her business resilience, community work, and innovative leadership philosophy. The call came only hours later as she sat on a park bench trying not to cry. The chairman's warm voice greeted her, asking if she had received the official confirmation email. She hadn't checked. When she did, her breath caught. Her name. Her title. Chief Executive Officer. She was stunned. The tattoo they rejected her for? It suddenly felt powerful, a reminder of where she came from and who she was meant to be. She thanked the chairman, her voice shaking, and promised to begin immediately. But she didn't tell him about the interview. Not yet. The next morning, she walked through the same doors, but this time, heads turned for a very different reason. Her posture was steady, her steps confident. An assistant rushed to escort her, whispering, "The board is waiting for you, ma'am." The same receptionist who had eyed her tattoo now stood frozen, recognizing the inked wrist instantly. The interview panel, sitting in the meeting room, went pale when she walked in. They had no idea she was the CEO they were supposed to meet. No idea the woman they had casually rejected was now the highest authority in the building. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't humiliate them. Instead, she simply asked them one question: if a person's worth can be dismissed over a symbol of love on their skin, how many great talents have you already turned away? Silence. Heavy, shaking, shame-filled silence. The woman who had rejected her could not lift her eyes. The man who had waved her off swallowed hard, his arrogance shattered. Mira let the weight of her words settle before calmly explaining the new company policy: skills, value, and integrity would matter, not appearance, not stereotypes, not outdated standards. In the days that followed, the company shifted under her leadership. Workplaces became more inclusive, transparent, and humane. Employees felt seen for the first time. Creativity flourished. Productivity rose. And slowly, the old culture of judgment dissolved. Mira became not just a CEO, but a symbol of second chances, of resilience, and of refusing to let small flourished. Productivity rose. And slowly, the old culture of judgment dissolved. Mira became not just a CEO, but a symbol of second chances, of resilience, and of refusing to let small minds shrink big dreams. She even kept the interview panel, not out of pity, but to teach them accountability and growth. And they learned. Oh, they learned. Months later, at a company-wide gathering, Mira shared her story openly. She rolled up her sleeve and showed the tattoo proudly. She told them about her mother, about loss, about perseverance. And then she said the words that defined her journey: never let someone's limited vision define your limitless potential. What they see on the surface is never the whole truth of who you are. The room rose in applause, not because she was CEO, but because she had become something much more, proof that life can turn pain into purpose, judgment into justice, and rejection into rebirth. And as she looked around at the many faces watching her, some with tattoos, some without, she felt something she had not felt in years: peace, pride, and the quiet knowing that she was exactly where she belonged. If you'd like a thumbnail prompt, SEO description, hashtags, or a cinematic trailer intro for this story, just let me know.